This kind of ties into another message that I gave maybe like a month or so ago when I started the channel. Like, I've been asking the Lord, like, Lord, what do you want me to do? And I've had time just open up, and I finished a big project that I was working on and wrapped up another thing. And then the Lord just had me resting for a few months, and then he called me to start a YouTube channel, and I was like, I don't want to do that. But here I am, starting a YouTube channel. So the first message that I put out was a word that he had given me about like a coming storm. And this one, I believe, ties into it. I think it's, just kind of another warning that the Lord was giving me. But basically, like, he gave me a vision, and I'm the kind of person, like, when I close my eyes, I don't see anything. It's just like gray. And so I know when the Lord gives me a vision because I will see something, and like, I can't conjure that up on my own. So the other night I was just laying in bed kind of praying and like in between wake and sleep, and all of a sudden I just started seeing movement, and I was like, Lord, what am I seeing? And then it started to like refine and get clearer, and I was starting to see like horses and chariots and men with swords and shields and like going into battle, and like water getting splashed, or like clouds. Like, I'm not sure what the heck it was, but I was just like, whoa, this is so intense. And so that's what I saw like right before going to bed. And I had some interesting dreams that night, but I think those were more geared towards me and not necessarily a message for other people. But that vision, I kind of sat on that. That was about 5 days ago, and I've just been asking the Lord, for just more information. Like, why did you show me that? Like, I don't want to have the spirit of fear. God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. So I was just really kind of sitting on it, waiting to see, if he'd give me more information. And today I was just laying in the sun at the beach, just resting and listening to the waves, and just kind of asking the Lord, like, Lord, what do you want me to tell your people? Because he gave me a couple of verses over the last couple of days, and they're not great. It's definitely a warning. But right then, when I asked the Lord, like, what do you want me to tell your people? All of a sudden, the blanket that I was laying on just flopped over on top of me, and then I heard covering. And so, I don't want to be giving you a warning without also encouraging you, but this is basically, what I believe the Lord is warning his people about. And it may also be a warning for people that he is calling. Like, this is not the time to be getting distracted by the world. This is not the time to be putting idols up or being unrepentant. Like, this is the time to be leaning into God and seeking him with all your heart, turning towards him, like being humble, because I do believe, I don't know when, but I do believe that, he is warning his people. But basically, like, after he gave me that vision, the next couple of days in my study time, I was just coming across these verses that, like, I may have read them before, but it never really, like, stood out to me. But after having that vision, I was like, oh, okay. So the first one was Jeremiah 4, and it says, look, he advances like the clouds. His chariots come like a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe to us, we are ruined. O Jerusalem, wash the evil from your heart and be saved. How long will you harbor wicked thoughts? And then a little bit further, it says, disaster follows disaster. The whole land lies in ruin. In an instant, my tents are destroyed and my shelter in a moment. So that was one of the words that I got in my Bible study. That one came up. And then, within the next day or so, I got this one. And this is in Habakkuk 3. It says, were you angry with the rivers, O Lord? Was your wrath against the streams? Did you rage against the sea when you rode with your horses and your victorious chariots? You uncovered your bow and you called for many arrows. You split the earth with rivers. The mountains saw you and writhed. Torrents of water swept by, and the deep roared and lifted its waves on high. Sun and moon stood still in the heavens at the glint of your flying arrows, at the lightning of your flashing spear. And in wrath you strode through the earth, and in anger you threshed the nations. So that's, another word that came, and I really feel like you know, I don't know what's going to go down, but we see it all across the news. Like, things are getting weird, and it's probably going to get a lot more weird, but the Lord was just really impressing on me like his covering, you know. And when the Israelites were about to leave Egypt, there was the Passover, and they had to slaughter a lamb and smear lamb's blood on their doorposts to protect them from the final wrath of God towards the Egyptians. Um, and, you know, that's coming up too. Passover's coming up. So I just think that the timing's kind of interesting that he's talking to me about a covering. But basically, like, that's what Jesus was on the cross. Like, he was the final sacrifice for the Israelites, and then the Gentiles got grafted in, you know, as his people. But Jesus is our covering from the wrath of God. Because God cannot tolerate wickedness and evil. And, you know, he is patient, and he's long suffering, and he is really kind. But I mean, eventually it's going to go down. I don't know when, but it's going to go down. And so I really believe that Jesus is, you know, our covering. It says all throughout the Bible, like, he is our rock, he is our shield, he is our fortress in time of trouble. Like, he'll cover us under his wings. So I just really think that right now is the time to get right with God. Like, and it doesn't take much. Like, just pour out your heart to him. Just tell him, you know, if you're mad at him. Tell him if you're heartbroken. Tell him if you're sad. Tell him, you know, if you're ashamed. Just do it, and then just ask him to show up for you, and then watch him move in your life. So that's the word today. But I hope everyone's well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.